Okay, so we are going to set up and solve another proportion equation. And remember, if you're solving a proportion equation, you're always going to be setting one fraction equal to another fraction. So right off the bat, that's the first thing I'm going to do. Let's think about how I'm going to set it up. One fraction equals another fraction. Okay, so, and then to set the fractions up, you read carefully, and you're going to relate one quantity to another quantity. So let's kind of see what quantities are related. Jane can walk 3 miles in 23 minutes. Well, there you go. So we're relating miles to minutes. So Jane can walk 3 miles, right, in 23 minutes. Okay, so most important thing, remember to keep your units. So 3 miles, and I'm writing down miles here, right, because I want to make sure I remember where the units are going. So miles are going in the top, right? So if miles are going in the top here, whatever happens, miles will go in the top there, okay? Jane can walk 3 miles in 23 minutes. So 3 miles per or in 23 minutes. So green, 23. So in the bottom, I'm going to have minutes here, right? So again, minutes on both sides, right? Minutes on the bottom here, minutes on the bottom here. Okay, so I'm going to have to read now and find information that goes with miles and minutes next, just to find the other fraction. So use proportion to find how far she can walk in an hour. Okay, well, an hour is basically minutes, right? So they're being a little sneaky, and they're not giving us minutes, but this is minutes, right? So really, it's 60 minutes, right? So I'm going to put 60 minutes here. And the how far means they're not telling us the miles, right? So the how far, that's our mystery, right? We don't know how far. So when we don't know, in a proportion, we use a variable. I like to use x because it's a nice thing to write. Now I've set it up. The rest of it, we've had practice in, but I'll do it anyway. So again, miles on the top here, miles on the top there. Minutes on the bottom here, minutes on the bottom there. Now, I do my trick. Okay. Trick again is, I call it the cross multiplying trick, it gets different names. So, bottom, right? So I'm going to multiply these things. I'm going to set it equal to these things, okay? So, 3 times 60 equals 23 times x, and I'm going to do this in the calculator, although I can do this in my head, but never hurts, we'll do it in the calculator. 3 times 60 is 180. Makes sense, right? Because the 10's there. Okay. And this I'm going to just write as 23x. Remember, when you're multiplying a number by a variable, oftentimes you just write it without anything there. So, how do I solve this? Stop and think for a moment. I want to get rid of the 23, right? So, I'm going to rewrite this equation again, just so we have a record. Okay, so I'm going to divide both things by 23, and then I'll have x alone, right? And this. And this, I don't think I can do in my head, so 180 divided by 23 is 7.82. Okay, so there's my answer. And what I'm saying here is that I'm going to be able to walk 7.82. Remember, that's x is miles, right? 7.82 miles. Again, if I wanted to, I could get a fraction here, or actually a decimal probably, and I can compare it. If I put this 7.82 here, I should get the same there. I'm not going to do that now. But let's just stop and think in terms of common sense, if this is in the ballpark, right? Well, in 23 minutes, I can go 3 miles. And in 60 minutes, I should be able to go more, right? Almost twice as much, time, a little more than twice as much time. So this seems like it's a good ballpark estimate, right? 7.82. So common sense tells me, yeah, that seems like the right answer, right? And again, you should always be using common sense when you're evaluating your answers, thinking if they make sense. And so there you go.